20 Most Dangerous Countries in the World in 2024. In a world where safety and security are paramount concerns, certain countries stand out as particularly dangerous due to a combination of factors such as political instability, high levels of crime, terrorism, and ongoing conflicts. These countries, often plagued by violence and unrest, pose significant risks to both residents and visitors alike. From war-torn regions to crime-ridden cities, the most dangerous countries in the world showcase the inherent challenges faced by societies grappling with instability. In this video, we will explore some of these countries, shedding light on the complex dynamics that make them particularly perilous and examining the factors that contribute to their dangerous reputations. But first, take a few seconds and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our videos. This list is according to the Global Peace Index. 20. South Africa, GPI, 3.112. South Africa's danger level fluctuates across regions. While it offers stunning landscapes and vibrant cultures, crime remains a significant concern, particularly in urban areas. High rates of violent crime, including robbery, carjacking, and assault, pose risks to both residents and visitors. Additionally, socioeconomic disparities and historical tensions contribute to periodic outbreaks of civil unrest. However, South Africa has made strides in improving security measures and addressing crime through law enforcement initiatives and community programs. Vigilance and awareness are crucial for navigating its dynamic landscape safely. 19. Ukraine, GPI, 3.120. Ukraine has faced various challenges, including political instability and conflict in certain regions, such as eastern Ukraine and Crimea. The ongoing conflict with Russia-backed separatists has resulted in sporadic violence and instability, particularly in Donetsk and Luhansk. Additionally, tensions between Ukraine and Russia can lead to localized incidents and potential risks for travelers near the border areas. 18. Mexico, GPI, 3.133. Mexico presents a complex picture of danger. While it boasts rich culture and beautiful landscapes, it also contends with high levels of crime, including drug-related violence, extortion, and organized crime activities. Certain regions, particularly along the northern border and in states like Guerrero, Michoacán, and Tamaulipas, experience elevated levels of violence and instability. However, many tourist destinations and urban centers maintain a relatively safe environment for visitors. Vigilance, awareness of surroundings, and adherence to travel advisories are essential for mitigating risks. 17. Libya, GPI, 3.155. Libya has been plagued by instability and violence since the overthrow of Muammar Gaddafi's regime in 2011. It is considered one of the most dangerous countries in the world due to ongoing conflicts, the presence of armed militias, and the proliferation of weapons. The country is fragmented, with different factions vying for control, leading to frequent clashes and a high risk of violence. Kidnappings, assassinations, and terrorist attacks remain prevalent, posing significant threats to both locals and foreigners. The deteriorating security situation, coupled with the lack of effective governance, makes Libya a highly dangerous place to reside or visit. 16. Myanmar, GPI, 3.211. Myanmar, also known as Burma, has faced significant challenges regarding safety and security in recent years. Following a military coup in February 2021, the country has experienced widespread protests and civil unrest, resulting in violent crackdowns by the military junta. The situation has led to a humanitarian crisis, with reports of human rights abuses, arbitrary detentions, and escalating violence against civilians. The ongoing conflicts with ethnic armed groups in various regions further contribute to the volatile environment. These factors combined make Myanmar a highly dangerous country with a high risk of violence, political instability, and human rights violations. 15. Sudan, GPI, 3.250. Sudan has faced significant challenges in terms of safety and security. Despite recent political changes and the establishment of a transitional government, Sudan continues to grapple with internal conflicts, particularly in regions such as Darfur, South Kordofan, and Blue Nile. These conflicts have resulted in violence, displacement, and a high risk of armed confrontations. Additionally, Sudan faces other security concerns, including ethnic tensions, tribal disputes, and the presence of armed militias. The combination of these factors makes Sudan a dangerous country with ongoing security risks and a potential threat to the safety of its residents and visitors. 14. Burkina Faso, GPI, 3.252. Burkina Faso, a landlocked country in West Africa, has experienced a significant rise in violence and insecurity in recent years. The country faces a complex security crisis marked by the presence of extremist groups, including affiliates of Al-Qaeda and ISIS. These groups carry out frequent attacks on civilians, security forces, and infrastructure, resulting in a high number of casualties. Burkina Faso also struggles with intercommunal conflicts, displacement, and a lack of effective governance in some areas. 13. Brazil, GPI, 3.319. Brazil, known for its vibrant culture and natural beauty, also grapples with significant safety concerns. High levels of violent crime, including robbery, assault, and homicide, are prevalent in certain urban areas, particularly in cities like Rio de Janeiro and São Paulo. Socioeconomic disparities, drug trafficking, and gang activity contribute to the country's crime rates. Additionally, political instability and occasional civil unrest can pose risks in certain regions. While many areas of Brazil are safe for tourists, travelers should exercise caution, particularly in high-crime areas, and remain vigilant to minimize risks to personal safety and security. 12. Eritrea, GPI, 3.428. Eritrea, located in the Horn of Africa, faces several challenges regarding safety and security. The country has a tightly controlled government and limited access to independent media, raising concerns about human rights abuses and political repression. Additionally, Eritrea has been involved in conflicts with neighboring countries like Ethiopia and Djibouti, contributing to regional instability. Despite efforts to improve its image and attract investment, Eritrea continues to face criticism for its authoritarian regime and lack of democratic institutions. Travelers should exercise caution and stay informed about the political situation when visiting Eritrea, particularly in border areas and areas of potential conflict. 11. Central African Republic, GPI, 3.532. The Central African Republic, a landlocked country in Central Africa, has been plagued by persistent violence and instability. The country has experienced ongoing conflicts between armed groups, fueling a humanitarian crisis. The presence of these armed groups has led to widespread atrocities, including killings, sexual violence, and forced displacement. The security situation remains highly volatile, with frequent clashes between armed factions and attacks on civilians. The weak governance and limited state control further exacerbate the security challenges. As a result, the Central African Republic is considered one of the most dangerous countries, with a high risk of violence, lawlessness, and threats to the safety of its population and visitors. 10. Mali, GPI, 3.539. Mali has been grappling with a complex security crisis for years. The country faces threats from various armed groups, including Islamist extremists affiliated with Al-Qaeda and ISIS. These groups carry out frequent attacks, primarily targeting security forces, government institutions, and civilians. Mali also experiences intercommunal violence, particularly between ethnic groups, leading to further instability and a high risk of violence. The vast and sparsely populated areas, porous borders, and weak governance contribute to the challenges in maintaining security. 9. Venezuela, GPI, 3.544. Venezuela faces numerous safety challenges, primarily driven by economic instability, political turmoil, and high crime rates. The country's economic collapse has led to widespread poverty, shortages of basic goods, and a healthcare crisis, exacerbating social unrest and crime. Caracas, the capital, is particularly notorious for its high levels of violent crime, including robbery, kidnapping, and homicide. Political polarization and demonstrations also contribute to occasional unrest and instability. Travelers are advised to exercise caution, avoid demonstrations in certain areas, and stay updated on the current situation. Despite these challenges, millions of Venezuelans and tourists navigate the country safely every year. 8. Iraq GPI 3.577. Iraq's danger level fluctuates due to ongoing security challenges. Despite efforts to stabilize the country, Iraq faces threats from terrorism, insurgency, and sectarian violence. Areas such as Mosul, Kirkuk, and Anbar province are particularly volatile. Kidnappings, bombings, and armed conflict remain significant risks, with the presence of extremist groups like ISIS contributing to instability. However, major cities like Baghdad and Erbil have seen improvements in security in recent years. Travelers should exercise caution, follow government advisories, and stay informed about local developments. Despite the risks, Iraq's rich history and culture continue to attract visitors willing to navigate its complex security environment. 7. Colombia GPI 3.584. Colombia has made significant strides in improving safety and security in recent years, but challenges persist. While the country has seen a decrease in violence associated with drug trafficking and guerrilla groups like FARC, pockets of instability remain, particularly in rural and remote areas. Certain cities, such as Medellin and Cali, still experience higher levels of crime, including robbery and extortion. Additionally, political tensions and occasional protests can lead to localized unrest. Travelers are advised to exercise caution, stay informed about the current situation, and avoid risky areas. Despite these challenges, Colombia's natural beauty and cultural attractions continue to draw visitors. 6. Somalia GPI 3.641. Somalia is considered one of the most dangerous countries in the world due to its persistent conflict, instability, and high levels of violence. The country has experienced decades of civil war, resulting in the collapse of central authority and the emergence of various armed groups and militias. Terrorism, piracy, and clan-based violence are significant concerns, particularly in areas like Mogadishu and the regions of Puntland and Somaliland. Additionally, Somalia faces humanitarian crises, including food insecurity and displacement. Travel to Somalia is highly discouraged, and those who do visit are advised to take extreme precautions and seek updated security information from reliable sources. 5. DRC GPI 3.679. The Democratic Republic of the Congo in Central Africa has faced long-standing security challenges, making it a dangerous country. The DRC has experienced armed conflicts, rebel groups, and political instability, leading to widespread violence and human rights abuses. These conflicts have resulted in large-scale displacement, sexual violence, and the recruitment of child soldiers. Additionally, the eastern regions of the country are affected by the presence of various armed groups involved in resource exploitation and territorial disputes. The weak state institutions, porous borders, and prevalence of illegal arms exacerbate the security situation. 4. South Sudan GPI 3.835. South Sudan remains highly dangerous due to ongoing conflict, political instability, and humanitarian crisis. The country has faced years of civil war, resulting in widespread violence, displacement, and human rights abuses. Ethnic tensions and power struggles between political factions continue to fuel instability. The security situation is precarious, with armed conflict erupting sporadically in various regions. South Sudan also grapples with food insecurity, disease outbreaks, and limited access to basic services. Travel to South Sudan is strongly discouraged, and those already in the country are advised to exercise extreme caution, stay informed about local developments, and adhere to security protocols. 3. Syria GPI 3.842. Syria remains one of the most dangerous places in the world due to ongoing conflict, widespread violence, and humanitarian crisis. The country has been devastated by a brutal civil war that has lasted for more than a decade, resulting in significant loss of life, displacement of millions, and widespread destruction of infrastructure. Multiple parties, including the Syrian government, opposition groups, and foreign actors, are involved in the conflict, leading to complex dynamics and ongoing violence. Terrorism, including the presence of extremist groups like ISIS, further exacerbates the security situation. 2. Yemen, GPI 3.900. Yemen is characterized by extreme danger due to ongoing conflict, humanitarian crisis, and security threats. The country has been embroiled in a protracted civil war since 2014, leading to widespread violence, displacement, and a dire humanitarian situation. The conflict has resulted in severe food insecurity, lack of access to healthcare, and outbreaks of disease. Additionally, Yemen faces the threat of terrorism, including from groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS. The security situation is highly volatile, with frequent armed clashes and airstrikes. Travel to Yemen is extremely hazardous, and all non-essential travel is strongly advised against due to the severe risks to personal safety. 1. Afghanistan, GPI 4.136. Afghanistan poses significant danger due to ongoing conflict, terrorism, and political instability. The country has been mired in decades of war, with the presence of various armed groups, including the Taliban and ISIS, perpetuating violence and insecurity. Terrorism, including suicide bombings and attacks targeting civilians and foreign nationals, remains a constant threat. Additionally, Afghanistan grapples with widespread poverty, lack of access to basic services, and human rights abuses. The security situation is highly volatile, particularly in areas outside of major cities.